Did ancient humans fart more than us? It sounds like the dumbest question in archaeology, but it is actually about food, gut bacteria, fire, privacy, and one very awkward problem. Before bathrooms existed, where were you supposed to hide it? Ancient humans had no toilets, no private bedrooms, no polite dinner tables, no hallway to escape into. Just you, your gut, and a small group of people sitting around the same fire. So yes, ancient humans definitely farted. The real question is, did they fart more than us? And the honest answer starts with a problem. We cannot count ancient farts. Archaeology is powerful, but not that powerful. So we have to ask a better question. What were ancient humans eating? And what would that food do inside a human gut? Because a fart is not just random air. Some gas comes from swallowed air. But a lot of intestinal gas is made when bacteria in your gut break down food your body did not fully digest earlier. Especially certain fibers, starches, and carbohydrates. These travel into the large intestine where bacteria start fermenting them, which sounds scientific, but basically means your colon becomes a tiny prehistoric brewery. And that brewery can produce gases like hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and methane. Most of that gas does not smell. In fact, over 99% of intestinal gas volume is usually odorless, which sounds comforting until you remember the smell comes from the tiny remaining part. So a fart can be huge and almost harmless, or small, silent, and remembered forever. That means we need to separate two things: how much gas there was and how bad it smelled. Those are not always the same problem, but even if ancient humans did not fart more, they almost certainly had fewer places to hide it. We will get to that. First, the food. The obvious stereotype is that ancient humans ate mostly meat. People imagine cavemen sitting around every night with giant roasted animal legs. But that is too simple. There was no single caveman diet. Ancient diets changed by place, season, climate, tools, and luck. Some groups ate a lot of meat. Some ate more plants. Most ate whatever the environment gave them. And this is where the stereotype starts to fall apart, because meat was not always the main gas problem. Often the real culprit was plants. Not every plant, but fibrous roots, tubers, wild fruits, seeds, nuts, and starchy foods can feed gut bacteria. And when gut bacteria eat well, they do not care about your dignity. This matters because Paleolithic humans were not just hunters, they were also gatherers. They dug up roots, collected fruits, cracked nuts, gathered seeds, and processed wild plants. Researchers have found starch grains and wear marks on grinding stones from around 30,000 years ago. That suggests people were preparing starchy plant foods long before farming. So ancient humans were not just chasing animals, they were grinding, pounding, roasting, chewing, and experimenting with plants. And sometimes that healthy ancient food may have betrayed them later, because healthy food does not always mean quiet food. Imagine someone eating fibrous roots, wild fruits, seeds, and ground starchy plants. Then they sit down by the fire. No bathroom, no separate room, no chair to blame. Just 12 people, a campfire, and one very confident microbiome. That does not mean ancient life was one long campfire incident, but it does mean some ancient meals probably created more gas than others. The menu mattered, and weirdly, one of the best clues comes from something nobody wants to imagine: ancient poop. At El Salt in Spain, scientists studied ancient fecal biomarkers linked to Neanderthal occupation around 50,000 years ago, which is a polite scientific way of saying, yes, researchers studied extremely old poop. History is elegant like that. The evidence suggested a diet with a strong animal component, but also plant material. That matters because even Neanderthals, often imagined as pure meat-eating Ice Age hunters, had more complicated diets depending on place and time. Different foods, different landscapes, different digestive consequences. Your gut bacteria do not know they are part of human history. They just know lunch has arrived, and they react. A useful modern comparison comes from the Hadza of Tanzania, a present-day hunter-gatherer population often studied by researchers. They are not living fossils, they are not exact copies of Paleolithic humans, but they show us something useful. When diet changes with the season, gut bacteria can change too. In one major study, researchers collected hundreds of stool samples across a year and found seasonal shifts in Hadza gut bacteria as diets changed. Different season, different food, different microbes, different digestion, which gives us one cursed but probably true sentence: ancient farts may have been seasonal. In some seasons, when people ate more fibrous plants, roots, fruits, or starchy foods, they may have produced more gas. In other seasons, with more meat and fat, maybe less gas volume, but possibly stronger smells, depending on the food and the person. So the answer is not simply yes or no, it is more like, it depends what Greg ate. Poor Greg, fire probably helped. Cooking made many foods softer, safer, and easier to chew. Grinding, pounding, roasting, soaking, and boiling could change food before it reached the stomach. So fire was not just warmth, it was not just light, it was not just protection. It may also have been one of humanity's first digestive assistants. But cooking did not cancel gut bacteria. It did not remove fermentation. It did not stop the human body from being a human body. Fire helped, but the campfire still had to listen. And now we reach the real problem. Not biology, architecture. Modern people think of farting as a private embarrassment. Ancient humans probably had much less privacy. Small groups lived close together. They ate together, worked together, traveled together, slept near each other for warmth and safety, shared shelters, shared fires, shared smells. So even if ancient humans did not fart more in total, their farts were probably harder to hide. The problem was not always the fart. It was the witness list. Today, you can blame the dog, or the chair, or a strange noise outside. In a Paleolithic camp, your options were limited. The chair did not exist. The floor was dirt. The dog may not have been domesticated yet, depending on when and where we are talking. And everyone knew Greg had been eating roots all afternoon. Now, were ancient humans embarrassed by farting the same way we are? Probably not exactly. Embarrassment depends on culture. Modern manners teach us that body sounds should be hidden. But ancient humans lived in a world where bodies were more present. People smelled more, sweated more openly, slept closer, scratched, coughed, bled, healed, chewed, digested, all near other people. A fart may still have been funny, or annoying, or a reason to move slightly away from the fire, but it probably was not the same kind of modern social disaster. Still, humans are humans. If one person kept ruining the sleeping area after a root-heavy dinner, I refuse to believe nobody noticed. There was probably laughter, there was probably side-eye, there was probably one person who said, "It was the fire. It was not the fire." So did ancient humans fart more than us? Sometimes, probably. Especially when they ate lots of fibrous plants, roots, tubers, fruits, seeds, or hard-to-digest starches. Their gut bacteria may have been working overtime, but not always. Not every group, not every season, not every meal. Compared to a modern person eating low-fiber processed food, some ancient humans may have been gassier. Compared to a modern person who just ate beans, onions, whole grains, protein bars, fizzy drinks, and artificial sweeteners, ancient humans might look innocent. Modern people are not exactly silent champions of digestion. We invented ultra-processed snacks, carbonated drinks, office chairs, and meetings where nobody can leave. So the final answer is this: ancient humans probably did not fart more every day, everywhere, but their gas likely changed with diet, season, and environment. And the biggest difference may not have been the amount, it was the audience. No private bathroom, no separate bedroom, no fan, no closed door, no polite escape. Just you, your gut bacteria, a fire, and a group of people pretending they did not hear anything. Your ancestors were not weird for farting, they were human. And sometimes being human means your microbiome joins the conversation.